Well, hello, everyone. My name is Deandra Coleman with the Virginia SBDC Network. For those of you that are not familiar with our organization, Virginia SBDC is a partnership program between the U.S. Small Business Administration, George Mason University, and local host institutions throughout Virginia. With 27 locations across the Commonwealth, we provide training and technical assistance to small businesses in their local communities. Our one-on-one consulting services are available at no charge. Today's webinar, Success Through E-commerce, is presented by the Virginia SBDC and is the second in a two-part series discussing WordPress and e-commerce. The series will be offered again on May 5th and May 18th, so be sure to sign up, especially if you missed our first session on WordPress. We are recording today's presentation and it will be posted on our website. Due to the large number of participants, everyone's microphone is muted. But if you have questions during the presentation, you can type those into the Q&A box. If we are unable to get to your question, you can email us after the webinar. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter for today's session. Cameron has over 18 years of experience in technology and as a senior tech consultant in Silicon Valley, where he helped Fortune 500 companies improve their digital marketing and e-commerce. He has founded several tech companies, including an SaaS website for tree preservation and a blockchain platform for nonprofits. Cameron is accomplished in language, culture, has an MBA and MA, and believes new technology products have the ability to help shape our world for the better. Cameron is now working with the Virginia SBDC as Chief Digital Advisor, and we are fortunate to have him share his expertise with us. Please join me in welcoming our presenter for today, Cameron Nelson.
Thanks for that introduction. And hello, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. We're going to be talking about how do you achieve success through e-commerce for your small business or startup. So let's jump into it. What are the goals of this boot camp? Well, there's three different goals. The first one is we're going to learn about which website and e-commerce platform will work best for you. Next, I'm going to show you how to set up your e-commerce store and list your items for sale. And thirdly, we're going to discuss how do you refine your strategy. After you launch your store, how do you maximize your profits and increase your chances for success? So the first thing we're going to talk about are websites. So what I mean by a website is your personalbusiness.com. This would be your main presence online. You don't need your own website if you want to sell in e-commerce. You can sell directly on a platform like Etsy or Shopify, and we'll talk about all the best platforms here in a minute. But many of you already have a website or you're thinking about getting your own website. And these are the different types of websites broken down by level. So if you have a current website, let's think about which level you're currently. The first level called the basic level. This is a simple website with no shopping or e-commerce capabilities. It basically would just have information about your business, a phone number or an email address to contact you with. That's it. If you have this level of business, you obviously can't sell your products online using it. So if you really want to sell your products on your own website, then the minimum level website is what you need to step up to. This website will have several different product pages. And these pages will describe your products with pictures and text, and then they will link to an external site for the purchase of those products. So for example, if you're selling handmade boots on your website, you will actually direct your customer to an Amazon page or Shopify or Etsy page where they'll make that purchase. If you want the shopping experience all to stay within your own website, then the robust level website is what you need to think about. It's sometimes nice to keep the experience all on your own website because you can have greater control over how it looks and interacts with your customer. It also improves your brand image. So this level of website will integrate those shopping capabilities and a payment gateway, and it can also do things like link to your social media pages so you can draw in even more users. The fourth level of website is an advanced website. This can have many more advanced shopping capabilities, such as having videos on your website, a referral program, or a subscription payment model. So the more advanced features that some of you might want to use. So if you already have a website, you probably have in your mind now which one of these levels you're at. And hopefully you have also an idea of which one you want to be at. So what are those upgrade considerations if you're thinking about upgrading your existing website?
Hey, Cameron.
Well, a basic website, if you don't have one,
Okay,
yes,
I'm sorry to cut in. We're having a little bit of issues with your audio. Do you want to try and turn your video off and see if that helps?
absolutely.
I think it just might be your internet. We'll try that. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for telling me. So the first upgrade consideration is if you don't have a website at all, you want to typically look at a free website, and these can be gotten from Wix or Squarespace or Weebly. And also Shopify, Etsy, and Amazon offer free e-commerce pages to start a basic website on. So that's the easiest way to get your own website if you don't already have one. If you do already have one or you want to have a nicer website, then the minimum level website is usually a good level for a business that's trying to sell online. Because these websites allow for some customization and they link to third-party sites like the Shopify, Etsy, or Amazon to complete the purchase of your product. But they don't really allow for things like a user login or subscription packages. A robust website is a really good level for most small businesses to be at if they're trying to sell online. These are often an investment of $2,000 to $9,000, depending on what you need, and they'll allow you to target your market with a greater customization like unique landing pages or A/B testing. And the final type of website is an advanced website. This is not very common or not needed in every case. But when your product is complex to sell or it comes in many variations, or your customers need greater incentive to buy, like watching video reviews about it, this type of website will help you do that. And the costs for this typically range from $8,000 to up to $45,000, and they can have many features like video sales, geolocation, subscription models, user logins. So next, we need to talk about what are the costs to build and operate one of these types of websites. The hosting cost is going to be very similar for any of the levels. You have to pay about $20 a year to buy your domain name. So this would be like yourbusiness.com. And that's the same across all 4 types of websites. The hosting, the cost for hosting is $50 a year for a basic website, and that goes all the way up to about $250 a year for an advanced website. And this difference in price is due to the fact that there's more content on an advanced website, so the bandwidth costs you more money to serve that to your customers. You're also going to want an email address at your domain, again, to have that professional look about your business. And the cheapest email address you can get is about $1 a month or $12 a year. And that's going to be sufficient for most people with a basic or minimum level website. Though if you're already going to be investing in a robust or advanced website, I do recommend that you would enable or get a Gmail or Google powered email address. What this means is that it will run through the Gmail system and give you access to all of the apps like the calendar and Google Drive and Google Notes and many, many other very useful features that are included for about $75 a year. And I think that's a really good investment for small businesses to make. Also, when you have a website, it doesn't do much good if you don't have visitors. So that's when we talk about paid ads. If you're just working with a basic website, it's usually not a good idea to spend money on paid ads. Rather, you should take the money you could spend and put that towards building a minimum level website. If you're already at a minimum level website, you can consider your ad budget starting at about $100 a month. And what this will do will be to drive more website visitors to your website to give them more opportunities to buy your products there. With a robust level website, you can spend up to $3,000 a year, and you'll primarily be spending this on the major platforms such as Facebook, Google, Instagram, even Twitter. Those are the main places where people buy ads. And with an advanced website, you'll probably have a significant ad budget, which could be $10,000 a year or greater. The development cost for a website ranges widely. So if you just want a basic website on Wix or Squarespace, most people can build that themselves without any need to spend money. However, if you feel like it's above your knowledge level or you don't have the time, then you can expect to pay a professional like freelance web developer $300 to $1,000 to help you build that simple website. A minimum level website will cost between $750 and $3,000. And these prices are mainly for a US-based independent website developer who you'd find on a freelancer platform like Fiverr or Upwork. A robust website, you can expect to spend anywhere between $2,000 and $9,000. And an advanced website between $8,000 and $45,000 and above if you have fancier requirements. The other website cost to consider is what's called SSL. SSL is a secure layer that encrypts credit card data. And if you are taking credit card payments on your own website, you do need SSL to comply with regulations. So that costs about $100 a year. If you just have a basic or a minimum level website, remember you are not actually taking credit card payments on that website, so you don't need to worry about it. If you have your products listed on a major e-commerce platform like Etsy or Squarespace, or sorry, Etsy or Amazon or Facebook, they are going to be doing the SSL for you. So now that we've talked a little bit about your own website, your own .com, let's talk about now the top e-commerce platforms that you can sell your products on. Now, keep in mind, you can sell your products on one of these in conjunction with your own website, if you have a level 3 or 4 website, or by itself. The advantage of having a website in conjunction with selling your products on one of these 5 sites is that it gives your business a more professional brand and a more professional image online. Often a customer will like to go to a business's website to see, is it built nicely? Does it use good English? Is it communicating well with them before they decide to buy your product on an e-commerce platform like this? But some small businesses do fine just selling on an e-commerce platform without the need for a website. So that is a choice that you can make based on your budget and based on the type of industry that you're in. So these are the top 5 e-commerce platforms in the world right now. They're Shopify, Etsy, Facebook Shops, Amazon, and Amazon Handmade. We're going to talk about each one of these in detail, but first I'm going to give you an overview. So Shopify charges between $29 and $79 per month, plus a credit card transaction fee. And this transaction fee can be 0% if you use their payment gateway, and I'll explain more about that in a moment. Shopify features an extremely easy to set up interface with one-click selling, but Shopify does not allow you to customize the checkout process very much. So if you're selling something that's very simple, like a coffee mug, that could be fine. If you're selling something with more colors, variations, or shapes and sizes, Shopify is not going to let you customize that checkout process to really meet your needs. The next one is Etsy. And Etsy charges a 5% fee on all sales, plus a 3% and 25 cents payment processing fee on each purchase. Etsy is focused on the handmade or vintage items and craft supplies, and it's very easy to set up and post products on. And we'll look at Etsy in a moment, but people selling things like handmade leather goods, wood goods, linens, metalwork. This is a very popular place to sell those types of items on. The third on the list is also the newest. This is Facebook Shops. It's integrated with Facebook and also Instagram. This charges a flat 5% sales fee on all of your sales. And Facebook Shops is geared towards small businesses and merchants. Now, one of the big advantages of this is that Facebook has 2.5 billion users and growing. So that is a lot of organic search result traffic. Essentially, Facebook is the world's second largest search engine after Google for goods and services. So if you're selling on Facebook, you do have access to all those search results, and they can't find your products there. So that is an advantage Facebook has over Shopify and Etsy. The next is Amazon. Amazon charges $1 per item or $40 a month, plus variable fulfillment fees. And so what this means is that Amazon can warehouse your products and ship them for you. They can also handle your returns and customer service for you. And the more of those services you want them to do, the more they'll charge you for it. So if you prefer to ship out of your house but have the products for sale on Amazon, you can do that as well. And Amazon charges you less, but then you're spending more time fulfilling those orders directly. The advantage of Amazon is it is the largest e-commerce platform in the world. It has a huge amount of traffic. We all use it. Some of us love it, some of us hate it, but it is the largest. And it also has a really good way to sell multiple sizes and multiple variations. So this could be in clothing or shoes, something with different colors or textures and patterns. Amazon has a great checkout process to handle those types of items. The next is Amazon Handmade. This is a subset of Amazon that's specifically tailored to compete with Etsy in the handcraft and handmade items. It is the most expensive on this list. It charges a 15% fee on the sales. It does feature the same ability to sell multiple sizes and variations, and it's the same Amazon experience that many people around the world use. So it's a very good place to have your artisan products on. But you do need to note that to list on Amazon Handmade, you have to submit an application, which are not always approved. But what this ensures is that there's a higher quality product being sold on Amazon Handmade than Etsy, Shopify, or Facebook shops. First, we're going to look into more detail at Shopify. You can see that by looking at the way Shopify is describing itself, what their target market is. They're saying that anyone, anywhere can start a business. And they're really trying to target those first-time small business owners or entrepreneurs who have very little knowledge about selling online. So it's really tailored to be an easy platform to use from the seller's point of view. They offer a free trial for 14 days. And you can see at the bottom some of the categories that they're focusing on. So food and drinks, jewelry, beauty and cosmetics, home and garden. These are the categories that they're really trying to promote. And so if you're selling in one of these categories, you should probably consider Shopify as a good e-commerce platform to use for your store. The next on the list is Etsy. As discussed, Etsy is really focused on these handcraft items. You can see some of their categories are jewelry, clothing, home, weddings, toys, arts, and crafts. And so if you're in the market for selling these types of items, people come to Etsy looking for them. So it would be a logical place for you to set up your store. Now, Facebook Shops is relatively new. It just came out about a year ago, and they're improving it all the time. It recently got integrated with Instagram, which Facebook also owns. And the advantage of this is that Facebook is a large community and people are looking there for goods and services to buy. And so listing on Facebook Shops will allow you to get in front of those people. It also has a great user interface. It's very clean and modern, and Facebook has some of the best programming and developers in the world. So they're always releasing new features, and they're staying very competitive against their main competitors, which would be Amazon and Shopify and Etsy. So if you like Facebook, if you're already using Facebook, I highly recommend you would explore selling on Facebook Shops. If you don't use Facebook, you have to set up many accounts and get verified, so it might not be worth the time and effort unless you're already using Facebook. Now, Amazon is a website I'm sure we're all familiar with. It's the largest e-commerce platform in the world, and for a good reason. They've really got it figured out how to promote products with the review system, with the different sizes and variations. So selling on Amazon is a great way to get in front of many, many people. It's very competitive on Amazon, especially recently with many products being sold from China. Sometimes it can be hard for American companies to compete on Amazon. So that's just something to keep in mind, even though it's still a great place for many local US businesses to be selling their products on. And the last section is Amazon Handmade, which is anything in Amazon Handmade shows up in the regular Amazon search results. So you don't have to worry about somebody having to select handmade from the drop-down list at the top specifically. And again, there's this artisan application. So if you do get approved, you're in kind of an elite group of people that Amazon has selected to sell here. I know I worked with a small business client in Central Virginia making a pasta brand, a homemade, handmade pasta, and they're on Amazon Handmade. So it is possible to get accepted, and I encourage you, if you think you have a niche, high quality handmade product, to go to this website, Amazon Handmade, and apply for the application. And if you can sell here, it would be great. So now that we've explored the 5 main e-commerce platforms, hopefully in your mind now you have an idea of which one or even multiple sites you like and would prefer to start selling your products on. So now we're going to talk about how do you find your product to sell, how do you customize your starting e-commerce template, and how do you add your products and begin selling them. So let's get into it. So how do you find a product to sell? Well, first you need to ask, how many products do you want to plan on selling? I recommend that you try to limit yourself to just a handful of products that you want to sell online. If you're trying to sell 50 or 100 different products, you might find it's overwhelming as far as posting all the text and the images and keeping those updated. So I would recommend that you would take the top 10 or 20% of the products that sell the best and start by posting those online first. And when you look at which products to post online, ask these questions. Does it solve a customer pain point? And the bigger the pain it solves, the better a product it is to sell online. Does it appeal to an enthusiast or hobby crowd? If so, you have some great sites like Etsy and Shopify to really help you sell that. Does it go with your personal passion? And does it build upon your own professional experience? Does it capitalize on trends early, such as if you were making face masks a year and a half ago, you would have been well positioned with the pandemic. So just thinking about what trends are coming up and what products you could be making or selling online to capitalize. Read customer reviews on existing products from your competitors, and this will give you a good insight into what customers like and dislike about those products. It might give you an idea of something to sell yourself. Litmus test before you launch. This just means, again, don't post 50 or 100 products because that takes a lot of time. Rather, post a handful of products and see how they do. And just be really precise and test things before you invest a lot of time into one particular strategy. You can look at what's trending in online marketplaces. Amazon has a great feature that says which is the number one selling and a second selling and third selling product in each category. And this changes daily. So you can get a really good idea of what's selling best in home and garden or jewelry or electronics on Amazon. And it can give you some insights into maybe what you should be selling. You always want to try to sell products with a higher profit margin online because unlike in a retail store, almost everything online is commodified. Because when a customer is looking at, even if it's a pair of leather shoes that are handmade, looking at pictures online, they can all look very similar. And so you're really dealing with a situation where your product is just a commodity and there's very little to differentiate it among other products. So it can be hard to stand out. And it can be hard to make it by selling products with a low profit margin. And always be on the lookout for new opportunities and new trends that you can capitalize on. Once you have decided on which of the e-commerce stores you want to sell, you will sign up there, create an account and username that'll be free. Sometimes you'll have to submit an application and wait a few days. Amazon has a new requirement that they require a phone call verification, and they ask you questions. And so that's a whole nother hoop you have to jump through for Amazon now, but they're trying to weed out fraud and scams. So it's a good thing overall. But keep in mind, it will take some time to set up an account on Amazon now. But once you pick which of the platforms, they're going to present you with a starting template for the look of your e-commerce store. And they have a range of these feature-packed templates that are going to give you a start for your store's design. And you should ask a couple of questions to find out which template is the right one for you. You should check and ask yourself, what features do you want your store to have? Do you want to be selling with videos? Do you have a great promo video for your product? Do you have video testimonials or reviews? If so, you want to probably pick a template that highlights the video content at the top. What style of homepage do you want? Do you want to be one very long page with all of your products listed vertically, or would you rather break them up into different categories and different pages? And how do you want your customers to move around your site? Do you want to have your contact information at the bottom of the homepage, or do you want to have a separate contact page? What about your About Us content? Should that be on the homepage or a separate page? So just some questions to think about, and that will help you get started with picking which template is going to be right for you. Once you pick the template, customizing it is going to be really easy on any of these sites. You can change about anything like the text size and the font, the color scheme. You can replace the stock images with your own. You can move around the positioning of your products. You can describe the features in a text and bullet point format. And you'll always be able to embed social media links like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. If you have those for your business, it's always a good idea to put them on your e-commerce page. And the reason is because your customers are going to do research about your company often before deciding to buy a product. And that means looking at your posts. Have you been active? Are you posting interesting, relevant content? And if they like all those things and you check all those boxes, there is a higher % chance they will buy your product you're selling online. So the next step is going to be to add your products. The main things you're going to need to add a product are its name. When it comes to the name, there's a couple different schools of thought. One thought is that you could name it something that's just very utilitarian. So for example, if you're making a leather dog collar, you could just call it brown leather dog collar. Or if you want to name it something fancier, maybe more abstract, maybe more artsy, this is really up to you and what you think your market likes in a name. Some industries prefer the utilitarian, some industries prefer the creative or artsy naming. You'll need to know the price that you want to sell it at. You'll need to know what category it fits under. And this is very important so that when a customer is searching for, say, jewelry, you're not listed in the wrong category, because if you are, then you won't come up in the search. You'll need to know the weight of the product for physical products. And if it's anything electronic, like an image or an ebook, you'll need that file image. The three things that are most important when uploading a product are going to be the product description, the product images, and the product category. The first we'll talk about is the description. These need to be convincing, but there's a few things to avoid. So avoid any industry jargon or abbreviations, avoid using any cliches, and avoid long sentences and long paragraphs. Some interesting bit of research done a couple of months ago about the top selling products on Amazon revealed that they use a little amount of text followed by bullet points. And the most effective use of text was 2 to 3 sentences of text, followed by 5 to 10 bullet points of description. That seemed to be the secret sauce on Amazon, and it follows that it's very similar on other e-commerce platforms. So you don't want to write paragraphs and paragraphs of text because really nobody's going to read it, and you'll probably lose customers that way. The next thing that's very important are the product images. Like I said before, selling online really does make your product a commodity, and it can be difficult to differentiate yourself, but one of the best ways to do that is with really good images. And so these are a few pointers to take good images. The first one is to take high quality images and never select images that are blurry or too small. And when selling online nowadays, this means the resolution must be sufficiently large. And my recommendation would be a resolution of an image of about 2000 by 2000 pixels. This is usually adequate. If you're able to take resolutions higher, say 4000 by 4000 because you have a better camera, I would go that route. Some of the e-commerce stores offer the ability to zoom in on products. And so if you have a really detailed, say a leatherworked bag or something, and you want to show off the stitching or some fine details, you do need a really high resolution image to actually make that work and make it zoom in. So 4000 by 4000 pixels would be good if you have that kind of product that you want to show off those fine details on. Secondly, make sure each image is the same size. You can use a tool like Photoshop to resize your images to the same dimension, or you can find a free online image resizing tool if you just Google that. You can take your own photos using just about any good smartphone nowadays. So you don't really need to invest in a large DSLR type camera. Some of the e-commerce platforms provide a 360-degree rotation option, and this will allow the customer to spin your item around, which can be really helpful to show off all the sides of your item. And if this is an option on the e-commerce template you pick, I would definitely make use of it if you can. Add product variation images. For every different color, texture, every variation of a product you sell, make sure you have images showing each of those variations. And we already mentioned the zoom option. This will give your customers the ability to zoom in deeper to see those fine details. And you'll definitely need a resolution closer to 4000 by 4000 pixels for those types of images. And when you go to upload images, sometimes the file size will be rather large. Even a file size from a smartphone nowadays could be 5 megabytes or 8 megabytes. This is really gigantic for web browsing, especially people with slower connections. So the last bullet point here recommends that you optimize images using a free online compression tool, which will reduce the file size significantly without impacting the image quality or the resolution noticeably. And this will really improve your e-commerce page load time, which just makes it a nicer shopping experience. Here are some examples of good product images that I pulled off of Amazon recently. On the upper left-hand corner, North Face backpack, I really like that they show the different product configurations. You see open, closed, the buckles, the pouches, the front, the back. This is great because you're not going to want to buy something like a backpack only seeing one image of it. So if your product will benefit from showing these different open positions, then you should definitely take these pictures and upload them, showing all the different configurations. Just below that is a mattress. And what they've done here is had a 3D schematic drawn showing the different layers. This is really important if you have a product where the quality of the product is hidden from sight and you need to show what that product is made out of. It could be a good idea to create these yourself or hire a freelance graphic artist to make some 3D kind of renders like this. And these are good images to use on your e-commerce site. And finally, on the right is the shoe. This is a nice image because it has really excellent lighting. There are no dark shadows. It's on a nice white background that doesn't distract from the product itself. And it's very important that you use a good lighting source. And often this can be achieved with a light box or just a simple setup, which is a white background and a consistent light setup on a tripod, which will make all your product images come out looking very similar. And this really helps to improve the look of your online store. So third, we're going to talk about how do you launch your store and maximize your profits. First, how do you set up your payment methods? Then how do you preview, test, and publish your online store? And finally, what do you do to check on your progress and to see if you've been meeting your goals? So one critical step and necessary step in this process is setting up your payment methods. So generally, the payment methods process the credit cards, either the Visa, MasterCard, or sometimes the Discover network, or the three main credit card networks. They charge around 1% to 10 cents per transaction, all the way up to 3% and 30 cents per transaction, just depending on which of the networks it is and where you're located and other different factors that can impact that. The three most popular ways to accept payments on an e-commerce store are setting up a merchant account and payment gateway. So with this, you'll set up a business bank account, and the business bank account will accept payments for you and put that money into the bank account. You will just give that routing and account number to the payment processor so the payments can go to your account. The second option is a payment gateway package. There's several all-in-one software packages out there that allow you to connect your store's shopping cart to the credit card processing network and again, ultimately deliver those funds into your bank account. And the third option is what's called simplified credit card payment processing. And this is most common with Shopify because they have their own payment gateway that does the transaction for you. And because Shopify is so big and they have their own gateway, they can charge 0% fee on the transactions using the Shopify payments. So this is a really smart way to go. The only reason why you wouldn't want to use it is because in some situations, you can find it just unfavorable to your business, but really it's a very common way to get payments made on Shopify. And a lot of people using Shopify do prefer this. Next, you need to preview, test, and then publish your store. And so before launching, you really need to test out that your store is working as well as it can to make sure you're going to satisfy your customers' needs. And when previewing, testing in your store, there's a few things you need to check. The first one is, does your checkout process work? There's nothing worse than if you forgot to link up something or put in some piece of information and actual customers get error messages. So what you want to do is test out the checkout process, place an order yourself, Make sure that it goes through, that it gets recorded in the back end in your administrative panel so you can see that order. You can go ahead and refund yourself, and so there's no payment made. And you can also make sure that any email notifications you had set up to get notified when new orders come in work correctly. The second thing is, do your store's buttons work? You'll have the ability to create a button on your page and link it to a product or a new page. Sometimes you might forget to create the link, or you'll have a typo. So click on every button, have other people click on every button, and make sure that you don't find any broken links. And finally, check your content, make sure that there's no spelling errors. Make sure also that all the images look good, that there's no blurry or pixelated images, and that on a variety of different internet connections, those pages are loading quickly enough. And if they're not, then you're going to want to go back and make sure that any product images have been compressed and optimized for the page load speed. Lastly, I think it's a good idea that you follow up with a professional, like somebody at the SBDC, like myself, and we can talk with you about your results and your goals and progress to see what areas you might be able to improve in. And some questions you can discuss at this stage would be, did you meet your sales goals and revenue goals for the first month? And if not, why not? What feedback did you receive from your target customers online? What products sold the best and the worst? What new ideas did you have for products to sell online? What have you learned from your competitors? And finally, what are you going to try to do differently going forward? And if you'd like to set up an appointment with myself or somebody else at the SBDC, or just another trusted consultant with experience in e-commerce, this can be really a good time to just have that check-in to make sure that, one, you are focused on the right things, and two, that you're able to come up with a strategy that is going to be meeting your goals online. Thank you for your participation. I'm happy to take questions for the next 15 minutes. And also, if anybody would like to reach out to me directly about anything discussed today, or you had other questions, here's my email address. And the Virginia SBDC's main email address is here as well. If you have more general business type questions about anything from finance and accounting, then please reach out to the main email, and we'll be able to help set you up with a business counselor who can assist you with those matters. So at this time, we'll take questions in the chat, and then our moderator, Deandra, will review those and then funnel them to me, and I'll be answering them for the next 15 minutes. So thank you for your time, and if you have questions, please stick around. And if you don't want to stick around, then I hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Cameron. That was great. We do have a good amount of questions in the Q&A, so let's go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and hit my video too, I forgot. So we're not just talking to a wall. All right, there are many hosting companies with options, shared, VPS, cloud, etc. Most don't have a robust option. How can I evaluate the type of hosting and company for my needs as a small business? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the 4 different types of websites were categories I created from my own experience in the industry. They're not necessarily going to correlate to a category you will see in a hosting company's what they're selling. I would say any hosting company will be able to support any of these types of websites up to the advanced website, meaning they're going to be able to offer you video streaming. They're going to be able to offer you SSL. They'll be able to offer you a subscription package. It's not so much the hosting company you pick as it is how you design and develop your website. The hosting company just hosts those files. And like I said, they're all pretty much the same nowadays, meaning they all support the same standards. So whichever hosting company you go with, you should be good.
If online selling is mostly a commodity business, where cost and availability are the primary motivators for a buyer to buy, should you still proceed with this business?
That's a great question. It's a tricky one because a lot of people jump into e-commerce and they don't meet their sales goals. I've talked to many small businesses who have thought they could sell a product online and found that it had a lot more challenges than they anticipated. Main challenges are just few people visiting their pages, and of course, few people buying their products. So how do you solve that? Some of the tips I gave were your product images, your text descriptions, and just identifying which product you want to sell, which one you think is going to have the most success. It's not always an easy road, and it doesn't always lead to success. So I understand your caution. I would say test it a little bit. You can create an account on one of these websites for free. You can upload your products for free and pay really low fees. See how it works for a couple of months. It's mainly due to your time. How much time do you have to invest in this? If after 3 or 6 months you feel like it's not working, you probably haven't invested a lot of money. So that's my advice. There's no yes or no answer to that, but there can be success, but it doesn't always happen.
Can you aggregate products from multiple drop shipping sites like Printful and TeePublic on an e-commerce site on your website?
Yes, and I think the best e-commerce site to do that on, and one that I didn't talk about because it's kind of fringe, is eBay. What eBay will allow you to do is sell a product that you will then drop ship from like an online print store, if I understood correctly. eBay definitely.
Cameron, you're cutting out.
You would have to look into the others.
Do you want to try
Sorry,
stop sharing the screen too? That might help. Give that a shot.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, thank you. So yeah, eBay will definitely work for the drop shipping approach. And for the others, I would read the terms and conditions and see what they say about it. I think you can also do that on Amazon, but I'm not sure you'd be able to do that on Shopify or Etsy or Facebook shops.
Is Facebook shops the same thing as the shop on your business's Facebook page? If it's different, can it also be configured to check out on another site, for example, Etsy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you have, the answer is yes. Facebook shops is if you're also selling products on your Facebook page, it's the same interface, essentially. And the second part of the question was, could you repeat it again? About Etsy?
Sorry, I just went away from the question. Let me grab it real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Can it be if it's different? So it's the same thing, but they were asking if it was different, if it could be configured to check out on another site like Etsy.
No, it can't be.
Is it worth it to promote your store to other platforms?
Yes, definitely. And the most common way that's done is that if you have a store, let's just say you're using Etsy, cross-promoting it on your social media pages will be critical. So you'll want to link it to your Facebook page. If you have Instagram, if you have a lot of image or video content, link it to your Instagram page. You can also do LinkedIn or Twitter. So yes, you'll want to cross link those two to your e-commerce page, and will definitely draw more visitors to your page and increase your purchases.
Are any of the platforms more friendly to multilingual needs?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think that all the platforms more or less support, I don't really know. I'd have to guess at that, and I don't really want to guess. So I think that obviously English is supported, but once you go beyond that, I'm not sure. Other than the major kind of languages, probably Spanish, maybe Chinese, but beyond that, I really don't have the answer to that one.
Do you need a dedicated website to have a Facebook shop published?
No, you don't. You don't. The dedicated website like the yourbusiness.com, as I mentioned, is a good thing to invest in because it increases your business's image online. It makes it look more professional, but you don't need that to sell on any of these e-commerce platforms. But I think that the brands who do have their own website and sell on e-commerce platforms ultimately do better because customers have a bit more sense of security there, that they know it's a more established company that has a nice looking website that they've built and invested in. So it's not a kind of company that might just disappear in a few months.
What's an estimate of time commitment from no site to a simple one in operation?
That's a great question. If you're trying to do it yourself, and I'll assume that you are, it depends on your technical level going into it. If you don't really know anything about websites or HTML or CSS programming, it's going to be a bit of a steep learning curve because you'll have to learn some of that. Probably between 20 and 30 hours. But if you already have some tech knowledge, maybe you've already, managed a website or two before, you could probably do it in 10 or 15 hours.
If I want to hire a contractor, you can go to sites like Home Advisor. Is there something similar to find someone to work on a website?
Yes, that's a great question. There's a few good freelance platforms. The one I use the most is called Upwork.com. And the other one that's also very popular is Fiverr.com. They also have apps, and I'd recommend you look at one or both of those. It's a very good way to find a freelance web developer who could be both here in the US or offshore. And you'll find a lot that might be in India or Eastern Europe, and they're often a lot cheaper. So there's a lot of options out there for you. And one of the things I help clients with in Virginia is to help to understand their development needs for their website and help them to even pick the best developer. So if that's something you want to pursue, feel free to reach out and email me. My email address and this presentation will be sent out to everybody following this presentation.
We have a robust website for our service-based business. We are now going to start selling products as well. Is it best to add a shop section to the existing website or to make a separate website to sell the products?
It's probably best to include it in the same website. Creating a second website will mean purchasing a new name that costs money, setting up a new hosting account that costs money, and a lot of time and just administrative things that are not really necessary to selling your product. So if you have the website already, I would strongly think to just create a new section. I'd call it products, would be just the most kind of default option, and put your product listing there. It's also something that I do advise small businesses on is how do you configure your website, your .com to sell products. So if you'd like to, again, reach out to me directly, I'd be happy to take a look at it and give you some more specific feedback on that.
Could you talk a little bit about drop shipping? I guess just kind of a general information if you have any more information about it. I know you mentioned it with eBay.
Yeah, drop shipping is just the concept that you order the product from a manufacturer, and that manufacturer ships it directly to your client. It never goes through your hands. So I don't know why it's called drop shipping, but that's how it works. So let's just say you have a company in California that's making your widgets. You'll get an order placed on your e-commerce store. You'll send order information to that manufacturer with the customer address. They will manufacture that, or if they have it in inventory, they'll put it in a box and ship it directly to the customer. So that's the concept of drop shipping.
Is there a trick to getting photos from Etsy to display more clear on Square or Weebly website when using Etsy's sync to Square feature? High quality photos on Etsy are pixelated when syncing to Square.
That's a good question. I'm not familiar with the syncing feature. It sounds like there's probably too much image compression going on. It might be a bug even in that feature. I'm not sure if it's intentional or unintentional. But I don't know. What I'd recommend is that you reach out to Etsy support and say that you're getting pixelated images. They might tell you that there's a setting you can change to fix it, or they might say, this is a bug we're aware of and working on, or they might say, you told us of a new bug, thank you. So probably that'll be the outcome, but I think it's best to reach out to their support.
Do you have a recommendation on a program or process to track sales and orders if you are using more than one platform?
If you're using more than one platform, it can get complicated. Typically, if you're using, say, Shopify or Etsy, they're going to have an ordering system that you log into and you can view your orders. So it's all in one place. If you're using multiple e-commerce sites, I don't know of an aggregator that will aggregate. And the reason is because each of those sites has a lot of security around the order system protecting clients' confidential information. So they don't want to share that with an aggregator and expose that to a data breach. So I've never heard of an aggregator. I think if you're using multiple e-commerce sites, you'll probably just have to, unfortunately, keep separate logins and just go between those two pages to manage your orders.
Do you have any recommendations for free photos for your website?
Yes, that's a good question. Free stock photos, I assume. And yes, there are some. You can do a Google image search. If you go to images.google.com, often there you'll find a lot of good images that you could find royalty-free images there that you can use. Also, if you Google free stock photos, there are a couple of sites out there. I've used one in the past that I don't have the name off the top of my head, but if you'd like to email me and follow up, I'll dig around and I can email you the specific one that I've used in the past, and people have really liked just the diversity of free images found there.
And we'll do one more question. If you are offering a service rather than a product, how would this apply to kind of what we talked about today?
That's a great question. And I get it because I talk to a lot of small businesses that are selling services, not products. You can sell your service online. Facebook is a great place to do that. So you can set up a Facebook page for your service business, which you might already have. In which case, probably what you want to do to promote it more is to take out a Facebook ad and link it to your page. So we can talk, you can talk to me more about the ad strategy on Facebook, and I'd be happy to talk to you about that. The second thing is Google. So there's this thing called Google for Business. And if you Google that, say Google for Business, you'll come up to the page where you'll be able to create your business profile on Google Maps. Now, Google Maps is actually really taking off as a way people find service businesses like a sauna or a nail salon or any other service business that's not selling a product. It's important that you're on Google Maps because people search the maps for, nail salon near me, that kind of term, and you want to make sure you're there. You won't be there unless you create your business profile. So do that. Go to Google for Business. It'll make you verify your business. They'll send you a letter in the mail to your business address. You have to give a confirmation code. It's involved, right? They do their checks. And then you can post photos for your business. You can post your open hours, all that good stuff. So the Facebook ads, and make sure the Google for Business is set up.
And I had two people say Upsplash is good for free photos and Pixabay for free images. So just wanted to throw that out there for you guys.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Cameron. Everyone, you will receive an email to a link with the recording, an evaluation, and to the slides. If y'all would like to sign up for upcoming webinars or access recorded webinars, you can go to virginiaspdc.org/training. Like I said, we've got 2 more sessions, redo of this 2-part series with Cameron we are having again in May, so be sure to sign up for that if you missed one of those parts. You can also access on our website the COVID Business Recovery Center, which we developed to help owners not only continue business operations, but to thrive and recover. These resources are designed to be used in collaboration with your local SBDC advisors. You can sign up for a free and confidential session by emailing help@virginiaspdc.org. And of course, you can meet with Cameron as well. You can use that same email and we will get you all set up. Thank you so much for attending, everyone. We hope to see you at the next session. And thanks again, Cameron.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your great questions. Hope everybody has a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.